Hello there, this is Alan Barrell. Do you have a business? Are you thinking of having one? Are you going international? There's a lot of talk these days about globalization and internationalization. Look at this picture. It just tells us that whatever we do, and going international is one of the things we might do with a business, there's bound to be a very hard way, and there might be a much easier way. So there are ways and means of going international that we can learn from experience and looking at other people and what they did. And I've got some real-life case material for you a little bit later on, but first of all, let's raise a few questions. Why go international? When? How? Why go international? The local market may not be big enough to satisfy your business. The competition may be international. There are many, many reasons why you should be thinking of going international: to grow the business, to get into the world market, to become a company of greater size. If that's what you want, it may be absolutely essential to go international. And when? There will be a time which is too early. If you're too small and you don't have financial resources enough, probably shouldn't do it. You really need to have the right resources before you venture from your own shores. And a lot of people would say you should have your business well established in your home market before you try and go international. That is true to an extent, but the case study I will show you will tell us that sometimes the home market is already saturated. So you might have to go overseas early. And the other thing is you may be forced to go international. Companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola that buy equipment, that bought the equipment in the case study I'll show you, they are international. So they bought the stuff in America and sent it all over the world. And suddenly my machines are working in Bogota, Colombia. What if I haven't thought about servicing machines in Bogota, Colombia? Might be a disaster. So sometimes we don't have choices. How? We're going to talk about. So, why should you bother? Well, you need to think about why you should bother. If you're running a range of barbershops, you're probably not going to go international. But if you're in the technology business or the service business or the apps business, the international market may be the one you want to capture, and the competitors may be out there already. So sometimes we have choices, and other times, as I told you earlier, we don't easily have a choice. We have to think about our industry, and we really have to have a plan and strategy. Try and conquer the world in one big leap, and you will probably plunge a long way down. You have to have a strategy and a plan and a reason for doing things. So, who dares wins? I worked for a company where the chairman said, let's go to China. And the finance director said, oh my God, China? That's a terribly difficult market to enter. And the chairman said, I don't care if it costs £2 million to get there. I'd rather spend that £2 million getting a business in China than giving it to the taxman. But if you've got a plan, it's easier to dare. Small can also be beautiful, so don't only think you have to be big. And the real issue about going international is that it does give people the chance to build careers and to become very, very fulfilled. You look at things and ask why, and I dream of things that never were and ask why not. So said George Bernard Shaw to the boring young man who was asking him many, many questions. And all the successful people that run their businesses internationally are why not people. The chairman said to us when we went to him and told him it would cost £2 million in the case study I told you about China, said, why not? We've got the money, don't give it to the taxman. Get out there and do it, which is what we did. Don't forget the world is changing. Don't get confused with any of the detail here. So much is changing in globalization, employment patterns, all kinds of things are changing in organizations, and the nature of competitiveness, since I was a young man many years ago, has changed. Competitiveness depends much more on what's in people's heads, intelligence and knowledge, than on machinery. It is a changing world. And think about reputation. If your reputation goes down the tubes, you can fail very quickly. Anyone like to apply for a job with Volkswagen these days, after all the problems of the misuse of big data and telling lies to people out there? Not really. Reputation, very important. And don't forget, if you are the proud peacock of today, strutting around arrogantly, being the greatest, tomorrow you might be a feather duster. What happened to Nokia? They're not a feather duster, but they're not the great company they used to be. Anyone using a BlackBerry out there today? 5 years ago, everybody had one. And Research in Motion was a huge company. It's all changed because of the tablet. So the proud peacock can quickly become the feather duster. If you really want to succeed in going international, you need to be inspired, you need to be inventive, and you need to be able to absolutely make things happen. You need to implement. What is the Columbus spirit? The Columbus spirit was to sail out into the uncharted oceans of the world. Remember, when he sailed forth, everyone thought the world was flat, and they thought he was going to fall off the end. The Columbus spirit is the spirit of exploration, and you need to have it if you're going to go international. You need to be lifelong learners. You want to learn things. You need to be world thinkers. Think about the world and the opportunities there. Be inquisitive about culture. If you're going to take a company to China, do understand a little bit about Chinese culture before you get there, or you might have a shock. And if you're going to spend as much time away as I did, sleep well on aeroplanes and don't be afraid of chaos. A good reason for going international is this very simple classical picture of the sales cycle of a company. We get started, it starts to grow, the profits are generated, and then we go into this saturation and decline point. Every time we enter a new company, if we're successful, we extend the sales pattern of the life cycle of our company and the profitability. So that's a good reason for going international. And how you do it, we won't talk too much detail here, but this inverted triangle shows us we can do it very cheap. Just put a few sales reps out there. We can spend a bit more money and get some real dealers or value-added resellers. We can have alliances. As we get near the top, we can have offices. We can have our own subsidiary. But look at the two arrows. The more control we have, the more costs it means to us in investment. So you have to think about the profitability of hiring more people or hiring more distributors, or whether you want a mixture of the two. And whatever you do, partnerships will be critical. Partnerships with distributors, partnerships with customers, partnerships within your company. And we just show a few of the reasons why partnerships are so important in this rather nice picture. So, these are, for me, enormously important words when going international. You will have to trust your Chinese partner who only speaks Mandarin. You will have to be transparent and let people look into your business in a way that you never did before. You will have to build relationships. So, if you are aspiring to go global, understand customs and practice around the world, have all your employees world thinking. Make world think a concept of your company. Organize across time zones, you know. I work in China and America, which means I might not sleep at all if I'm working across 3 time zones. That is the reality of going international. And you've got to be there when they need you, or somebody has. Logistics and distribution, train the trainers, sources of appropriate people. This was from the company that I'm about to talk to you on, I.E.C.T International. We had a mission, we developed values, we had a strategy, and our vision was to do various specific things, and we tried to help everyone in the company understand that. Think about that, mission, vision, and values before going international. So this company, I.E.C.T, which became a leader in the field of industrial inkjet printing, growing by ordinary people, dreaming of things that never were, was in the business of putting codes and marks on Coke cans, beer cans, bottles, and all sorts of other things on the production line where you need variable information. And some of the information is quite complicated. Now, this is not a simple business. It's a complicated technology business. By the time I left, We had 27 subsidiaries around the world and 80 distributor partners. There's the world map of where we had our offices. The chairman said to me, I want to grow this company by growing the sales 30% a year, and I want to have 4 new countries brought on board for our own companies every year. And when I said, well, I understand the sales and profits and all of that stuff, why 4 new subsidiary companies every year? And he was an entrepreneur. And you know what his answer to me was? Have you got a better number? I didn't have a better number, so we did it that way. If you're going to work with entrepreneurs, be ready for that kind of activity. So, went international with the last of the market, didn't have any IP, had no technology advantage, never had any money, always independent, highly entrepreneurial. All the profits were reinvested for growth. How did we do all that stuff then if we were the last in the market? We positioned carefully. We differentiate ourselves. We became the world's code company. We didn't talk ourselves as an inkjet company. We said we are the world's coding company. We believed it. We had outstanding people. We were not just another inkjet company. We had a broader product range. We had outstanding marketing people, the best technical support, and we focused on training. We didn't have the best product, we didn't have the best technology, but we became number 3 in the world by marketing and positioning. We grew the company brilliantly. Look at that last column though. What happened there? Did the business start to fade? No. This was all to do with currency, and a big lesson you need to learn if you go international is that currency fluctuations can affect your bottom line. In that last year on that chart, we sold 20% more products than in the previous year. But because we had 94% of our business outside the home market and a huge chunk of it in the USA, and the dollar and pound variation grew, in the bottom line on the company accounts, it looked as if we hadn't grown. Be aware, currency fluctuations can change your business. So, Willett got the best from partnerships, people, process, technology. Make them work together. And here's another interesting thing to think about. If you grow a company as fast as Willett, look at that green line. Our number of international employees very rapidly exceeded the number we got at home. You really have to be able to manage international people in particular ways. They're all of different culture. They speak a different language. So be prepared to grow a company that can embrace a very, very diverse population very, very quickly. So we had the inclusive approach. We said that employees, customers, suppliers, shareholders, we want them all to share in the success of our business. We want this world think to work, and we want to be culturally inclusive. Now, here's what happened to the distributor business in 4 years by applying some of those principles and helping the distributor do a better job. We grew the distributor business alone. The company was growing more than the distributor business through our own companies. Our independent distributor business grew from 800,000 to 12 million pounds in 4 years. And we were very proud of that. And just to summarize, by the time we got to that final position in the market of becoming international, we had accumulated most of the blend of skills and experience that are shown on this slide. And the bit in the middle is very important. If you've got strong vision and purpose and the people believe in it, wherever they are in the world, you will do very well. So finally, when you're going international, think of these wonderful words about excellence and be prepared to care and risk and dream and expect more than anyone else, and you'll do it. So have a great time going international. Good luck. Grow great businesses. Bye for now.